Patch 7.2.5 is out, and I have some pre and post footage. I have some thoughts. First, Antaeus wards, and this was a PvP focused nerf. As they've always worked, you run a little bit, you slide, the vents go on the screen, you reflect pretty much anything, bullets, supers, abilities, any and all. It is a PvP focused change because let's be real, that sweet 4 damage on a reflection in PvE, not enough. So reflective vents now require full class ability energy to deploy, and then following the deactivation of the reflective vents, your class ability energy is drained proportional to the amount of damage reflected, so you lose your class ability. No thruster after, have to wait on your barricade, things like that. But to top it all off, they no longer provide an improved slide. These were gutted. Now, I'm no Antaeus ward defender at all, but this fundamental change, needing full class ability energy, and then take away that energy when you do reflect something with damage, I think that the slide distance was okay. As crazy as that sounds, I do, because this is such an impactful fundamental change. That's going to leave Behemoth Slide and Dune Marchers for slide distance, and arguably, Dune Marchers should see a huge usage buff because of this, just for the slide distance alone. And I'm not really sure if Antaeus can recover from this. The issue to be fixed was centered purely around not being able to spam the vents for back-to-back-to-back damage immunity. They did that. That's a success, but I think they took it a step over with the slide nerf. Let's talk about it down below. Next, young Ahamkara spines. Another fundamental change, and guys, they feel horrible. I had a little bit of optimism, but let's talk about the usage now and what they were before. And you're seeing some of that gameplay in the background. Pre-patch, they increased the trip mine duration and blast radius, and ability damage grants trip mine grenade energy. So this loop that you've been seeing, this beautiful loop, was possible. Throw the fan knife, you scorch, that's ability damage, gets the trip mine back. You throw the trip, there's the ignition, you have the gunpowder grenade, maybe you dodge, get the knife back, throw another trip, you just loop it out. Beautiful. Powerful for single target damage. So this overall change, again, appears to be another PvP nerf. First, they reduced the trip mine grenades, increased hit points to 70, down from 100, and removed the bonus 50% damage resist. So that's all PvP, which is fine. It's warranted if they want to make a change. That's some place you would start. It's a good place you would start. But this second part, grenade energy is now provided on ability kills instead of damage. And they said, and I quote, they felt that these were causing issues. First, we want to bring its total bonus grenade damage more in line with other solar ability focused exotics like Athers's Embrace, Caliban's Hand. This change keeps the amount of energy provided large, but reduces how easily it can be gained. So first, like with those choices, Caliban's Hand, a throwing knife, let's not act like knock him down, the solar aspect, while Radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife, fully refund the melee energy. Same thing with Atheris, getting that back repeatedly. So I wouldn't really say keeping it in line with those. They say that the change keeps the amount of energy provided large, but reduces how easily it can be gained. So yeah, the loop that I showed you, it still does work because ignition, gunpowder, it's going to down surrounding enemies. That's cool. You're going to get grenade energy from that. But it just feels so bad now. You can't do that single target damage. You can't. Just going up to a single target, trying to do that loop that I showed you earlier, not going to happen. Can't do it anymore. The only way it will work is if there's surrounding ads when you throw that trip mine, when you throw that gunpowder gamble, when the ignition goes off. Because if that gets kills, that gets you trip mine grenade energy. But you have to think, the spines, pretty strong in PvE, not widely used. We just talked about Caliban. You have other things in the game like Tractor Cannon Bonk Hammer that just unloads damage for free, so I don't know why this was changed. The only thing I can think of is because of the Crucible. Just an opinion here. The usage in PvP, getting tags with the trip mine, getting a lot of grenade energy for that, pretty strong. PvE, not so much. So I don't know, they could have looked at damage first. The absolute nuke that is the trip mine with Scorch, with the increased radius from Ahamkara, leaves you with an inch of your life and you're out of the gunfight. Meanwhile, the trip mine user got a whole bunch of grenade energy back because they got a hit. I get it. But maybe they could look at the overall grenade energy gained back just for the Crucible. Maybe look at the trip mine damage overall so it's not a nuke. Or maybe the trip mine would actually damage the spine user. Like, they could have done a number of different things. Radius reduced, I don't know. I do know that the health, the bonus DR, is a good thing and a proper first step if this is all PvP related. But I'm not so sure about the changes to the ability of getting that back with ability hits, because that messes with the entire kit, because you would have Fan Knife, you'd have Scorch, you'd have all these things that just don't work now. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, and they went this route. Not a fan of it, especially since the things that were talked about, like Caliban, are literally refunded for free as far as uptime and getting ignitions. I don't know. It's a big change for Ahamkara spines, and so far both of these exotics really got hurt. There's some other things as far as activities. We're not going to go through everything line by line, just some of the important things with the sandbox. The Foe Tracers no longer grant max surge bonus on glaive and sword kills. Icefall Mantle. Fix an issue where players spawn without class ability energy in the Crucible. Astrocyte, Burning Steps, Gauntlets. A lot of those is just updated appearance or description to better match the functionality. Then we have weapon tuning with SMGs. So they increase the recoil globally by 10%. And in the background, you're seeing some Xbox gameplay, and I have PC to follow up with in a moment. And I tried low stability, low to medium stability with rangefinder, surplus, different things. And I'm not going to go through them all, but recoil is tied to stability. And I figure the best way to show is just side by side. This is 40 stability, pre and post patch. This is on Xbox, and unfortunately, all of my M&K footage got corrupted pre-patch, but post, it's the same deal. There's a lot more recoil added. It means everything about the pattern, such as horizontal recoil, side to side, is going to be more dramatic. So again, increased recoil globally by 10%, and specifically for M&K, they reduced the stability bonus from 20% to 10%. So more recoil is felt all around. I'm interested to see how this translates as we move forward, but perks like surplus, things like that, going to be a little bit more warranted. And also as a bonus, perks like rangefinder, because it gives a little bit of stability as well. Then we have sweeping changes to archetypes like auto rifles, the rapid fires. They reduce the aim down sights damage fall off scalar from 1.7 to 1.6. Various little nerfs, little buffs everywhere. Like in general, pulse rifles, they increase the damage fall off range at 0, stat by 1 meter. Aggressive, increase the ADS damage fall off scalar to 1.8. So with the new updated ADS fall-off distances, 0 to 100, a big winner is the aggressive pulse rifles. Now 42.3 meters. All pulse rifles, 39.95, so 40 meters. High impact autos at 39.5, but all other autos went to 37.2. So they're matching hand cannons. And of course, again, that's at 100 range. So things like Revision 0. All the aggressives got a really good buff with this. Pulse rifles in general, we have Drastic Green this week. The higher the range stat, the closer you are to 40 meters. So this is an interesting change, an impactful change for a number of different weapons. It's worth noting that precision auto rifles, like Amit, they reduce the zoom from 17 to 15. So at longer ranges, it was a lot more sticky, a lot more stable. They took that away, and they reduced the ADS fall-off scalar from 1.7 to 1.6 to fall in line with the others that aren't aggressive. Fusion rifles reduce the minimum damage fusions can deal after damage fall off from 50 to 45%. And remember, at that range, you're losing aim assist as well. So that's actually a pretty impactful nerf to go along with Kickstart being nerfed. But now Kickstart feels kind of needed because you need that little extra damage. We'll talk about that more in a second. But another big one is the nerf to sniper rifle body shot damage. A general buff, sniper rifles are now as accurate at base as they were before AE came into effect with Icarus script. So they decreased the AE penalty by 20%, so they're a little bit more accurate from the air. But aggressive decreased body shot damage from 157 to 135. Adaptives, again, decreased body shot damage from 131 to 119. And rapid fires, 90 to 85. That's pretty painful. And they've also increased the crit multipliers for each sniper rifle. So your body crit ratio is a little bit different now. So aggressive, still the king, 135. That means you can do body shot, then a 140 headshot. But with adaptives now, you need a 120 because they deal 119. And it's not even going to down max resilience. It's 199 or so. And rapid fires couldn't double body anyway, so that's a big change. And shotguns, same deal with sniper rifles. The slugs are now as accurate as base as they were pre-AE with Icarus grip. And they've decreased the AE spread penalty for pellet shotguns by 20%. There's checkmate tuning. Perfect float got a lot better. They increased the duration from 6 seconds to 10 seconds, and the extended duration from 7 to 12. And it doesn't take that much to get that going. We have Kickstart. They reduced the bonus damage from 20% to 15%. That still coexists with the fall off nerf. So Kickstart's still a good perk. It's actually not necessarily needed, but helps combat both of them. And in my video, I talked about it not working. They fixed it. Enhanced heal clip, and now heals allies when reloading after a kill. Some general things with the seasonal artifact, abilities. Word of Crota, that's a big one. I'm going to be covering it here in the next couple weeks. They set it straight with its magazine perks, and a couple other things, but the main thing to take away sandbox-wise, the two exotics did get gutted. They don't closely resemble what they were before this patch. I kind of wish things were done a little bit differently. The overall SMG changes are big. You have to spec into stability a little bit more, and perks like rangefinder come into play, surplus come into play, and little things like Omelon fluid dynamics. It should be felt controller and M&K, and then we have that mid-range shakeup, overall buff to pulse rifles. Aggressive pulses got even more. ARs got cut down a little bit, the more in line with 140 hand cannon, so I kind of like those changes, but we will see how they settle. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about these changes down below. What do you think about Antaeus wards, Ahamkara spines? How do you think those are going to land overall as we go on, as well as all the other changes talked about? And for more, the patch notes are at the top of the description if you want to check them out line by line. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.